Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our political conversation. And today, actually, I want to talk about the already concluded African Climate Summit 2023. And the way it was done, I can say it was done wonderfully in Nairobi. And President William Samuel Ruto actually proved to the world that Africa has a lot to contribute for the betterment of the world, that Africa should not be looked as a poverty-stricken continent. So that's actually what we want to have a chat about. But before we do that, I could request you kindly to have a minute or two and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like and hit the notification bell so that at any moment we come up with any political content, YouTube can be in the position to notify you so that you can watch the content. And please share this video to your friends. And if your friends are lovers of politics, then request them to subscribe to this YouTube channel too. Now, from the concluded African Climate Summit 2023, Africa came up with one voice that they are asking the international community that it should be able to commit itself to fund Africa so that it can combat climate change. Because developed countries had promised that they were to give Africa 100 US million dollars. And that was to be used in Africa to combat climate change. And Africa as a continent came together and requested all those developing countries that they should honor that bridge. And also, they actually anonymously agreed that we should have a tax for the entire world for those people who are heavy emitters of carbon to the environment. And that tax should encompass to the production of fossil fuel. And also, the African leaders put it very clear that they are agitating for the restructuring of the financial systems in the world so that Africa can get the funds they need to mitigate the climate change. So that those were actually the key things that Africa requested. And they said that Africa, we have 60% of the renewable energy. We have sun, we have hydro, we have wind, which actually we need to harness to make the world to be free from carbon emission. And they told the world that to achieve that, we must get a funding system which is fair to Africa so that we can get the finance which will help us to harness power from those renewable resources. Please, I could actually want you to listen to how leaders gave their speeches. Please listen to this keenly.
Profiled negatively the continent of disease, war, poverty. But we are stepping forward to say, look here, Africa is the continent with 60% of the world's renewable energy assets.
Climate change in Africa, as President Ruto so forcefully articulated, is a moral and strategic necessity for global climate action.
It is imperative that as Africa, we prioritize investments in our research capacity to develop scientific publications to inform and guide global efforts to combat climate change.
We need to focus on human capital advancement by training our own people, especially youth, so as to be able to reap from these vast opportunities.
Fully unlock Africa's renewable energy potential. That's why the African Development Bank is implementing a $20 billion desert-to-power program to harness the power of solar and deliver electricity for 250 million people.
There's a phrase that Kaigai Kobarin Besen Kosir Kobarin Banan. I will explain to you what that means. There is Besen and there is Banan. Besen is death. Banan is poverty. So it is said in this community, if you must die, it is better to die of death than to die of poverty. We don't want to die of death, but we also don't want to die of poverty. That is why we must have a conversation around multilateral development banks and concessional financing and how we can finance our economies using resources that do not punish us.
We need a complete upgrade. In fact, we need a surgical intervention of the global financial architecture that was built for a completely different era.
And this means an international financial system that is able to provide an effective debt relief mechanism that supports payment suspensions, longer lending terms, lower rates.
Obviously, this reform must resolutely focus on the financial organs and structures, institutions which structure the universe, which operate far from Africa.
Developed nations must fulfill their commitment to provide financial and technical assistance to African countries. Adequate funding is crucial to support adaptation and mitigation efforts, improving structural resilience, and promote sustainable development.
In the long run, playing the blame game is not the answer. A more pragmatic approach is for Africa to be a key player in the search for global climate solutions.
We have therefore committed to conclude this summit with a declaration which will firmly encourage everyone to keep their promises, even in hard times, as a matter of justice, to hold each other to account, to collaborate, and to innovate. This African moment is a global moment. We are in word and deed full stakeholders in this global journey and its primary navigators at this stage.
Something is happening. This is different. I feel that. This is different. I think, Mr. President, I would just say to you, your leadership is palpable. We feel it. What you have said today, there is such a clear path ahead for all of us. Africa is meeting. Africa is speaking. Africa is deciding. And nothing could make a greater difference.
Young Africans are looking up to African leaders here to leave them with a promise, a visible promise, to make them feel that there is a future where they have hope to get green jobs, live a dignified life, and thrive.
Until the lion learned the art of writing. All stories glorified the hunter. I think we have learned the art of writing, and that is why we are going to write our own narrative. That is the continent that we belong to.
After listening to that, you can agree with me that African leaders, they actually now mean what they say. And Africa has come together to actually redeem the climate so that we can make the world to be a better place to live. I don't know what's your take about the voice of Africa to the international community about the climate, how we can save the climate, how we can reduce the carbon emission to the atmosphere as we approach 0% by 2050. Please drop your comment in the comment section below. And if this is your first time to pump into this YouTube channel, I could request you kindly to take a minute or two and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like, hit the notification bell, share the video to your friends, and if possible, request them to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And for those ones who have subscribed, I say thank you. May God bless you a lot. And with that, I say thank you until we meet in our next political conversation.